How can you make a continuation of one of the greatest franchises ever and not talk about Rocky? Question mark question mark question mark dot. One mention doesn't cut it. Disaster. I watched Creed 1 and Creed 2 because of Stallone. Creed 3 was a disaster from the visual aspect to the dialogue to the potholes to basically watching a made-for-TV movie. You can definitely tell Sly had no part in this movie. I bet Hallmark could do better. There's a reason Stallone's formula is successful. Michael B. Jordan needs to stay in his lane. He's an okay actor, but he tried a money grab and it didn't work. If Stallone made a movie about a flashback of Apollo, it would have had more heart in it. Beautiful cinematography and costume design allows the production for this movie to masquerade as a good film, but pay close attention and you see the holes in the writing. Damian Anderson, the villain, shows promise for great depth that ultimately goes unexplored. All we see instead is more about Creed and his never-ending insecurities. What could have been a writer's feast turns out to be a greasy, fatty fast food flop. Not really worth the money, honestly. But because it's the flashy, sexier version of Black Panther, crowds will come out. Respect to Jonathan Majors. His acting, albeit lacking in well-deserved screen time, were the only brilliant moments of what could have been a truly spectacular third film in this trilogy. This movie was not that good. I'm not biased because I really wanted to like it. My family went to watch it on opening night and it was lacking in so many areas. It was short, too animated, and too much of the daughter was in it. She is deaf and absolutely nothing against anyone deaf, however it was a whole lot of reading going on. I see they are leading to her being a main role in perhaps the next Creed because of her love for boxing and him teaching her. It lacked substance and didn't have the Rocky feel. The storyline lacked tremendously. I'm not exactly sure what direction it was trying to go with the dark scenes, but that was a flop too in my opinion. Jonathan Majors was great. I don't think it just was a letdown. So disappointing. Not the worst movie, but could have been a whole lot better. I'll start first by saying that I had a lot of fun seeing a premiere screening of Creed 3. The score, cinematography, and acting of Jonathan Majors and Mila Davis Kent deserve recognition and praise. The movie follows the journey of Adonis hanging up his gloves for retirement to spend time with his family and promote the fighters of his gym. However, he is forced to get back in the ring after unfinished business from the past in the form of childhood friend Damian Anderson comes back for what's his. Despite some strong sequences from Adonis's past and the setup of Damian coming back to take the crown, the story falls short on the promise of its themes and the main characters. The main themes are healthily processing emotions, communication, and fighting when it's necessary. Adonis believes in fighting as the answer to problems while Bianca wants him to embrace communication and processing his emotions. In the end, it seems like Adonis embraces the higher ground, but he throws it away at the slightest provocation from Damian. He defends his pride rather than his beliefs in the end and takes the high ground only after the battle is over. Damian's character comes off as justified for his actions, and despite a few moments of playing dirty and some unwarranted taunts, he never feels like the villain. Aside from this breakdown of story, there were inexplicable decisions made with supporting characters. Many received way more screen time than seemed warranted, and Amara and Bianca's characters suffered as a result. Amara's story arc got completely dropped, and Bianca, after making a compelling argument for communication and processing emotion, just rides along with Adonis's decision after his pride was poked by Damian. Spoiler, it would have been interesting if Adonis offered a full apology when he was live with Stephen A. Smith and Damian threw that apology back at Adonis. Instead we got Adonis not wanting to talk on live television and opting for a fight when provoked. Spoiler. The film followed in the footsteps of Rocky sequels in its own way and had many enjoyable sequences. However, it could have used some more work on the script level to have it hit on all levels. For the first 3/4 of Creed II's runtime, I was invested in the film's plot and characters. Was it ever going to be the best Rocky Universe sequel? Probably not. But it had me intrigued, to be sure. Unfortunately, I felt the filmmakers set themselves up for an unsatisfactory finish that, at least for me, proved to be exactly that. For a very basic overview, Creed 3 sees Adonis Michael B. Jordan, recently retired and living the dad life, with wife Bianca Tessa Thompson, and daughter Amara Mila Davis Kent. Until, that is, a figure, Damian Anderson, Jonathan Majors, from Adonis' past turns up and forces Donnie to reckon with some darker life chapters. Despite my relatively pedestrian 6-star rating, there are a number of great concepts in this movie. Majors is a more than credible, if not outright spectacular villain. The daddy-daughter material is tremendous, and a scene referencing Apollo Creed will bring tears to many eyes. The fight sequences are also inventive and exciting. Sadly, there were 3 mistakes, all made in the film's final 20 to 30 minutes, that made me leave the theater shaking my head as opposed to cheering. The character reasonings for Adonis battling Dame were a bit squishy. Is Dame the villain, or a misunderstood adversary? I felt as if director Jordan, his debut behind the camera, wasn't as clear as he needed to be on this point. The classic training montage trope isn't utilized to its best advantage here. It exists, to be sure, but is more perfunctory than propelling. I wish Amara was highlighted more throughout. She is great in the beginning and ends the film on a high note, but in between is nowhere to be found. A missed opportunity, though perhaps one that can be rectified in further sequels. Overall, I know Creed 3 isn't quite a 6/10 film. It will likely improve a bit upon a future rewatch. But fresh off the popcorn, I liked it rather than anything approaching love.